Hola everybody, this is Jenaro. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the production of English for UCR, and in general terms about making your own podcast, at least the way I've been doing it. English for You has been around for approximately 5 years. It will be 5 years next January. And it started originally as a radio show. This moment, it's a 30-minute monthly radio magazine, you can call it. And my original idea was doing this on the radio since I teach English at the National State Distance University of Costa Rica, and I wanted to integrate technology and take this a step beyond. I've been producing music for quite a while, so I was interested in how to integrate different media for teaching to complement the classroom. This is face-to-face work. That I do. So it was, I worked on radio, on a local radio station for around 6 months. And then I decided that was, again, weekly. And I decided it wasn't that practical. And since it was independent, I had to, run all the expenses. So I decided to move on to the internet, where I had been working for quite a few years, producing and releasing my own music. So it made more sense. So to give you an idea, I work with a simple outline, a script. So the structure of the program is 30 minutes, and I have an editorial, 4-minute editorial in Spanish about a topic related to education, English teaching, national news in Costa Rica. I choose one of those. Then I have the feature artist of the day, so I have an artist. Last edition was Depeche Mode. I included a short biography taken from Wikipedia. We listen to one song, we go to a non-commercial break. I use here breaks from NGOs related to nature, indigenous rights, animal rights, respecting the elderly, and so forth. Then I have today's class. Today's class is basically that. I choose a topic for grammar or vocabulary, I explain it. And then I have a guest, and this is normally a podcast by somebody else from YouTube. Then I have also this section, which is an exchange with a friend that publishes PDF magazine. So he sends me a short audio, 2 minutes or so, related to technology, and I send him my class. So he prints it, let's say, and I have a listening track here. Then I have a blast from the past, so I choose like the best song by the artist. I read the lyrics in English. I give my translation into Spanish. Then we listen to the song. Another break, and then we come back. Sometimes I have a short podcast from news, and then we listen to a last song. I use music as fair use, so that's not the best in terms of copyright, but since this is an educational program, I've managed and I haven't had any complaints. So, well, we should follow, the way that's supposed to be done. So here in Costa Rica, at least, I haven't had any problems, but in Canada, you might need to be more careful. In order to record it, well, I'll show you my equipment first, my rig very quickly. I use this microphone. This is a small ribbon microphone that I use for recording music. So it's a low-end edition, but it's actually very clear in terms of sound. And I also have preamp. This is a strip for recording voices, and it gives me good quality digital signal that I mix. For that, I use Sonar by Kwok. If you're familiar with DAWs, digital audio workstations, this is what I use. Audition is very similar to this one. So we work by tracks. Right, there's one for the voices on top. This is where I record each section, and then I mix them. Then I have here for short presentations for each section, the podcasts that I include from other sources, including my friends, and then background music. So I just record this, mix it, and then export it as MP3. The process takes like an hour for coming up with the script. Including the editorial. Then recording, it's around 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and then the mixing is the longest thing, longest step, and that's around an hour and a half. It's like 3 by 1, so an hour of of program will take around 3 hours of mixing. I'm trying to become more efficient in this, but so far this is my best mark. So it's around, you could say, almost 3 hours per edition. So that's why I also made it monthly. I'll play a little bit for you so you can have an idea what it sounds like.
Con ustedes, English for You, un espacio educativo donde estaremos aprendiendo y estudiando el idioma inglés. Noticias, música, vocabulario, gramática y pronunciación. Línea abierta para sus consultas con el profesor Jenaro Díaz-Ducca. Welcome to English for You. Our radio show is about to begin.
So I kept the original presentation from the radio program.
Hello dear friends and students, welcome to English for You CR. This is teacher Jenaro, and for today we have la autonomía universitaria como derecho y responsabilidad, indirect questions, and the pitch mode. Here we go.
English for You.
Copyright warning.
Okay, so I say there that these materials are used for non-educational purposes only, and then once I have it, I upload it to this website, iVox or iVoox. That's ivoox.com. You can also use SoundCloud, for example. This is the one I've been using for a few years now, and you can find all the programs here. And so it gives you basic stats on how many listenings. This is not so trustworthy though. How many times people have listened to it, and you can keep all of them there. Then I have my webpage, so this is where I actually promote it, and I give reference to this. There's also the Facebook page. So I have also here the link, as you can see, to the latest programs, and here also you can subscribe, receive these as, for announcements when this is made. So I announced this on Facebook and also by email. I send this to my colleagues at the university, other teachers, and my students. So basically the audience is that colleagues, teachers from university, but also for high school teachers, primary school teachers I worked with in the past, and my students and former students. So sometimes they send me questions and I respond to their questions. So I'm trying to make, they have a request for music, and that's how we go about it. So that's basically the experience. I think it's been a great step. As far as I know, nobody does this in Costa Rica nor Central America, and I try to keep this strictly academic. So the invitation is open for whoever wants to start his own, her own podcast. You can make this shorter, simpler, and it's a great experience working on internet and working with students and using technology for education. It's always great. So if necessary or if requested, I can make another one about like the technical aspects to keep in mind. There's some general advice and tips for producing your own podcast. Thank you very much for listening.